The grocery store was quiet that afternoon. Sunlight poured through the tall glass windows, brushing the polished floor with streaks of soft gold. The aisles were neat, the shelves full, and the low hum of coolers filled the silence. Everything looked calm, peaceful, almost too peaceful for what destiny was about to unfold. A few shoppers moved slowly, lost in their own world, unaware that something unforgettable was about to happen among those quiet shelves. Near the dairy section stood two small children, a boy and a girl. Their clothes were faded, their shoes worn thin, and their faces showed the kind of tiredness no child should ever carry. The little girl, Maisie, clutched a gallon of milk against her chest like it was treasure. Beside her stood Evan, her older brother, barely 7, yet already carrying the weight of a man. His hand rested protectively on her shoulder. They weren't lost, just waiting between hunger and pride. Evan's eyes moved from the milk to the counter and back again. He had promised Maisie that milk would make her feel better, but deep down, he knew he didn't have the money. He only had courage. Maisie looked up at him with tired eyes that still believed he could fix everything. He took a deep breath and whispered, "We'll find a way." That's when the door chimed. The sound of heavy boots echoed through the store, cutting through the quiet like thunder after stillness. 3 men walked in, leather vests, tattoos curling up their arms, the unmistakable insignia of the Hells Angels shining across their backs. The roar of their motorcycles outside still vibrated faintly in the air. Customers froze. The cashier stopped mid-scan. Whispers filled the corners of the store. But Evan didn't move. He just stood there, small but unshaken, holding his sister's hand tighter. The bikers walked down the aisle, their boots clicking on the floor like slow drum beats. Them. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a beard and tattoos that told stories of a rough past. But his eyes, they were tired, not cruel. He crouched down so he could look the little boy in the eyes. "Hey, kid," he said, his voice low and rough. "You lost?" Evan swallowed hard, but shook his head. "No, sir," he said quietly, "but we don't have money for this milk." "My sister's sick. Could you maybe pay for it? I promise we'll return it when we grow up." The store went silent. You could hear the hum of the refrigerator behind them. And nothing else. Rex didn't speak for a moment. He looked at the boy's trembling voice, the courage in his eyes, the little girl clutching milk like it was life itself. Something broke inside that tough exterior. A crack where compassion slipped through. Rex stood slowly, took the milk from Maisie's tiny hands, and walked to the counter. The cashier looked surprised as he pulled out his wallet. He didn't just pay for the milk. He added bread, fruit, canned soup, cereal, and a small box of cookies. When the bag was ready, Rex walked back and handed it to Evan. "You don't owe me anything, kid," he said softly. "Just grow up good. That's how you pay me back." Evan couldn't find his voice. He just nodded. Maisie smiled faintly, her eyes shimmering, and hugged the milk close to her chest. The bikers turned and walked away, the sound of their boots fading into the calm once again. But that moment, that small act, didn't fade for Rex. It stayed. It changed something inside him. Days passed, then weeks, but Rex couldn't shake that image. The little boy standing proud, refusing to steal, still believing in kindness. Each night, in his small garage, under a dim yellow bulb, he'd clean his Harley and think about them. That boy reminded him of someone he used to be. Before the tattoos, before the gang. Someone who still believed the world could be good. So one afternoon, Rex decided to find them. He rode back to the grocery store and asked the cashier, "Do you remember 2 kids, brother and sister?" The woman nodded. "They come sometimes," she said. "They live behind the old gas station. The one that shut down last winter." Rex thanked her, started his bike, and rode toward the edge of town. When Rex arrived, the sight hit him harder than any punch he'd ever taken. The trailer was rusted and broken, patched with cardboard and plastic. The yard was littered with empty cans and bottles, the children's way of earning coins. Evan was outside, trying to fix a leaking bucket with tape. Maisie sat nearby on a wooden crate, coughing softly, but when she saw the bikes, she smiled. Rex parked his Harley and walked toward them. The boy looked up nervously, but didn't run. "We're saving up bottles," he said. "We'll pay you back soon." Rex knelt down and smiled faintly. "You already did, kid," he said, "but we're not done yet." He turned back to his biker brothers. "We're fixing this place." The next morning, the sound of roaring engines filled the air. Not with fear, but with hope. Cole climbed the roof and began repairing the leaks. Maverick painted the walls and fixed the windows. Rex brought food, clothes, and laughter. They cleaned the yard, replaced the broken door, and set up lights powered by a small generator. For the first time in months, Evan and Maisie slept warm and full. The bikers didn't just rebuild a trailer, they rebuilt 2 lives. Rex even found a social worker who helped enroll them in school, promising to check in often. The once-forgotten corner of town began to glow again, not from neon lights, but from kindness. When everything was done, Maisie ran forward and hugged Rex's leg. Evan stood beside her, holding a small envelope. "We still owe you," he said softly, eyes full of honesty. Rex took the envelope, looked at it for a moment, then tucked it gently back into the boy's pocket. "Keep it," he said with a smile. "One day, when someone else needs help, that's when you'll pay me back." The sun began to sink behind the hills, painting the sky orange and red. The bikers started their engines, the sound rumbling like thunder. But this time, it wasn't rebellion, it was redemption. As the bikers rode away, Evan and Maisie stood near their small trailer, waving, their smiles brighter than the setting sun. Their laughter echoed softly, mingling with the distant roar of engines fading into the horizon. That night, Rex rode down the empty road, the wind brushing his face. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't just change the lives of those who receive it. It heals the hearts of those who give it. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't just buy a gallon of milk. It buys back someone's faith in humanity. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Because one small act of compassion can change someone's entire world.